Hey everyone! In today's project, we're building a rubber-powered airplane using spaghetti and a simple sheet of paper. Join us as we put this unusual little aircraft together, step by step, and see how it all comes together. Well, as you just saw, our table didn't survive the very first step. But no worries. All we need for this project is a few strands of spaghetti, a few sheets of paper, some rubber bands, a utility knife, a ruler, and some super glue. So, let's get started. We've got a lot of work to do. There are many different materials we could use to make the airplane's wings. Sheets of paper are one of the simplest and most practical options. We mark the required dimensions and the cutting pattern on the paper, just like this. At this point, we need a perfectly clean fold line. To make it, we run the pen over the same line several times, applying a little more pressure each time. To give the wing some thickness and create an aerodynamic shape, the upper section of the paper needs to be 10% longer than the lower section. So on the 10 centimeter side, we mark 10 millimeters, and on the 8 centimeter side, we mark 8 millimeters. Then we connect these two marks with a straight line. This will be our cutting line, which we'll follow with the utility knife later. First, we snap off the tip of the utility knife blade to get a fresh, sharp edge for cleaner cuts. Then, following the completed pattern, we carefully cut out the marked sections. Next, using a simple tool, we shape the paper into the curved wing profile you see here. This gives the wing its aerodynamic shape and helps it keep its form. Finally, we bring the two edges of the wing together and secure them with glue. The result is now as close as we can get to the shape of a real airplane wing. We build the second wing in exactly the same way. But at this stage, these are still the raw versions of our wings, and just like ordinary paper, they're quite fragile. To make them strong enough to withstand the force of the wind, as well as the impact from landing or hitting obstacles, we need to find a way to reinforce them and overcome the weakness of the paper. And our simple but creative solution is glue. By coating the paper with a thin layer of liquid superglue, we can make the wings several times stronger and much more durable. Now let's take a look at how we apply these thin layers of glue. If you enjoy simple materials turned into something unexpected, you're going to love what comes next. Subscribe to Craftskill TV and let's see if this little spaghetti airplane can actually take off. We need to sort out the perfectly straight strands from the bent ones. As you can see, most of the spaghetti strands in the package are slightly curved. Because of this curve, the bent strands don't roll properly on a flat surface like a table. But the perfectly straight strands can roll smoothly across the table and travel a noticeable distance. We start by fixing 3 rows of carefully selected, perfectly straight spaghetti strands together. This forms the main body of the airplane. At this stage, we carefully check the fuselage to make sure it's perfectly straight with no unwanted bends or curves. Next, we add the supports for mounting the propeller, along with the anchor point for the rubber bands. The wings need to be attached to the fuselage at a specific angle. But 3 rows of spaghetti aren't thick enough to create this angle properly. So, around the wing attachment points, we reinforce the fuselage by increasing its thickness to 9 strands. This gives us the angle we need for the wings to generate lift, while also providing a larger and stronger surface for securely attaching them. The best time to build the vertical tail fin is right now, before installing the main wings. At this stage, the fuselage can still lie completely flat on the work surface, making the tail fin much easier to build and align accurately. So, we take advantage of this opportunity and get it done now. Now comes the moment we've been waiting for, installing the main wings onto the fuselage. Before anything else, we need to make sure both wings are perfectly aligned with each other. So, on a flat surface, we use a spacer matching the thickness of the fuselage to position and secure the wings at exactly the same height and alignment. This simple step makes the wing installation much easier and ensures a more accurate and precise final result. And now, the driving force of the airplane, the propeller. An empty aerosol can is the perfect material for making the propeller. There are three main reasons. First, its metal construction provides the strength we need. Second, the curved shape of the can gives the propeller blades the natural curvature they need. And third, its thin walls keep the propeller lightweight. All of these features make an empty aerosol can an excellent choice for this job. Now, let's go through the process of cutting the propeller blades, shaping them, and finally mounting the propeller onto the fuselage. The most important step is to balance the propeller after cutting the blades and before mounting it onto the fuselage. Initially, one blade is slightly heavier than the other. So we carefully remove a small amount of material from the heavier blade until both blades are perfectly balanced. This ensures the propeller rotates smoothly and reduces unwanted vibration. a little cleanup, don't you agree? It's time to remove all the unnecessary parts from the fuselage and give it a clean, finished look. Let's get to it. We're almost there. There's just one final piece left, the horizontal stabilizer. Once it's built and installed, our spaghetti airplane will finally be ready for its first flight. But before we take it to the skies, there's one more thing. If you enjoyed watching this build come together, consider subscribing to the channel and joining us for the next project. And if you think this airplane deserves a flight test, hit the like button and let me know. Finally, what should we build next? Drop your idea in the comments. Your suggestion could be the inspiration for our next build.